And that's what I mean. I thought this was psychologically disturbing. For example, at one point, he needs blood from a virgin.
Right.
So I thought, oh, no.
You know how hard that is to find?
How do you know?
Well, don't forget.
Yeah, right.
This was
They
in the
lie.
90s, though. This was in the 90s.
I don't care.
But
We're already
We're
back. We're back like 5 minutes ago. So, okay. So I think it's well, we're back. Hollywood special.
Yes,
Hollywood.
Halloween.
Halloween
Trailer.
special. Halloween special. And
Wait, trailer?
nope.
No?
No.
Oh, I have to talk which movie it is first.
Yeah.
It's Day of the Beast.
Exactly.
Okay.
George
So,
can't even see
it's
right
live.
now.
What?
George can't
What do
even
you want?
see.
what?
No,
So-
no, yes, we're back.
Oh, we're back.
Yes.
Okay, we're back. So Halloween special, and we're back to our Halloween special, and now we're gonna do Lon.
So, as you know, I didn't like horror movies, but my selection was Day of the Beast, directed by Alex de la Iglesia and written by Jorge, excuse me if I get this wrong, Guerrica Echevarria.
No relation to
That
Julio
was-
Iglesias.
That was good. That was good. I couldn't have said that. I couldn't have said it.
It's pretty good.
Padre, ¿podremos soportar esta cruz? Sí.
There we go.
Okay. I'd never seen the trailer for that. I saw this movie basically based on a recommendation because this played at an art house, a famous art house in LA called the New Arts. And I just knew the producers, La Belle Epoque, which I believe won the Oscar for Best Foreign Film that year. And then, oddly enough, a 12-year-old boy told me how he thought this was just a funny movie. I was shocked that when I saw it, I didn't think, wow, they let a 12-year-old boy to come see this. So, but this is all about basically, and again, since I'm not a horror genre person, I was told there was humor in this. And as you saw from the trailer, humor galore. That last scene you saw in the trailer is the opening of the movie. That sort of sets the tone, I think, for the movie because in a lot of the films we're doing today, it always has to do, is this person going crazy? Are they mad? And it has to be with this priest. He's also a mathematician, and somehow he's calculated out from reading, I can't even remember what he was reading or researching, but he says he knows when the Antichrist is going to be born. I believe he's from the Basque region, and he's in Spain now. Oddly enough, my last movie last year was also a Basque movie
Yes, it was.
about
Yes.
a devil.
Elementary.
Exactly. So I thought, okay, this sort of fits in. And what happens is he convinces another priest he has to go and sin because unless he becomes a sinner, he needs to find out where Satan's spawn will be born.
He has to be a follower of Satan.
Exactly. So that means I can't be a priest anymore. I have to sin. He tells the priest, I'm going to sin to find this. And so he goes on this journey, and maybe because the opening scene, I sort of believe him. But still, again, I was actually rather disturbed. At first, he does like little minor things, like stealing this and stealing that. But as the movie goes along, I begin to wonder, okay, is he really demented? Because in my opinion, it really gets sort of almost disgusting again. The things that he requires to
You are
find out.
such a lightweight.
Again, I prefer the psychological over the actual seeing stuff. And that's what I mean. I thought this was psychologically disturbing. For example, at one point, he needs blood from a virgin.
Right.
So I thought, oh no.
You know how hard that is to find?
How do you know?
Well, don't forget.
Yeah, right.
This was
They
in the
lie.
90s, though. This was in the 90s.
I don't care.
But
It's a Catholic movie.
exactly. So I will give it to this. I did think Alex de la Iglesia, who also co-wrote the film, I thought this was a well-written, funny script. It is sort of creepy in its own way, but I thought it was really well-directed, really fleshed out characters. I will give it also to the cast, because I did like Alex Angulo playing the priest who's on his mission. I really love Santiago Segura playing Jose Maria, which
Oh, he was funny.
who is he's a sort of a heavy metal head who works at a record shop. In
And a
fact,
Satanist.
yes, in a way, but that's what made me laugh is when the priest, in being a sinner, he decides he needs to listen to heavy metal music.
Right.
And I loved his list because at first it was like Iron Maiden, I forget who else, but then it said Ace de As, Ace de Ace, which I did not understand.
Mean.
It's
think it was one-
AC/DC.
Oh,
That's what made me laugh.
AC/DC.
I missed that completely, you know? So,
Oh my God, I didn't get that until you said it.
So that's right. But Jose Santiago helps him out. He says, oh, yeah, go. My mother owns a boarding room. Just go there and everything. So you see the priest getting involved with these other people. But most importantly, there's an occultist who claims to see the future. Somehow he thinks that, yes, on television, the priest thinks somehow that he might have a connection, being an occultist, that he will probably know where this ceremony will be held, because it is, again, oddly enough, on one of the most holy days, right? The Christmas Eve, that the Antichrist will be born.
Right.
All I can say is I thought all the characters were really sort of fun, in a weird way, sort of realistic as well. I mean, again, people are getting killed in this. This is not sort of just a lighthearted movie. This is a very dark comedy as well. But I had to admit, I thought it was very funny. There is one scene in the middle of the movie that happens, and then you realize, wow, that just happened. And I remember watching it at the theater thinking, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to spoil it. I just thought it was amazing. And that's sort of when the movie kicked in for me. And throughout the entire movie, I just thought, okay, it's moving at a good pace. Things are a little disturbing. And yet his goal, you're going to see him sort of almost reach his goal of what he has to do, which again, you have to realize if an Antichrist is being born, that means he has to kill a baby, which is also, in my opinion, sort of really disturbing. So, but
Would you kill
I really-
Hitler as a baby?
see, no, I don't think I
No.
could kill any baby.
I'd kill it in a second.
But I would recommend this movie. And like I said, when I first saw it, the only reason I remember this is because how funny it was. So not quite the horror movie you might find out. It is dealing with Satanism, cults, etc. But I thought this was a very entertaining movie.
George?
Me, yes. Actually, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really odd, but it was funny. I was cracking up quite a bit with some of the scenes. It was pretty, it has some gory stuff, but not really, gory like all this, like pirate
Disturbing.
movies. Yeah, story. But an interesting story. I found out that the movie won for best special effects. And I'm going, what? Best special
No,
effects?
exactly, yes,
What are you talking about?
right, yeah.
Who was the competition? The Toxic Avenger?
Well, don't forget, that's a Spanish, the Goyas, right?
Goya, it's Spanish awards. So, but it was funny. Again, you made a great point that you can put all our movies in, it could be somebody going crazy and just stuff that's in their own head. Or is it really happening? So that this was another movie too where you kind of, because it's also hard to describe it too because there's some spoilers.
Right.
But like there's times where there's a scene I would say that they're trying to conjure things up and they put acid, I think, in with blood. So there you go. is it the acid, the LSD, or is it the?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yes.
Where you go, is drugs causing this, or is no?
Exactly.
Really happening.
Yes.
So
exactly.
but yeah, it was kind of that was cool. This is an interesting movie, actually. I mean, it's funny. It's quite a interesting concept, actually. But well, not really interesting because but yeah, I would say I did enjoy it. I thought it was funny. I didn't find it like a big scary. This is the only one that I wasn't jumping left and right. I was more laughing. But yeah.
Bob?
It's interesting because this is the first of the movies that we're reviewing tonight that I saw. So it was like over a week ago, and it's like I'm trying to remember a lot of it. Although,
I had that problem too.
yeah,
to be quite
I mean,
honest.
I think I
Write
did
it
nod
down.
out. I think I did nod out at one point. However, I gotta say it stuck with me in a way. I mean, it's like when you're talking about like, is this a horror movie? Well, is Ghostbusters a horror movie? No, it's a comedy with some horror aspects in
Yeah,
it, and
right.
that's what this is. This is a comedy movie with some horror aspects, but they're much more Catholic horror aspects than was the case with Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters was more cartoonish.
Right.
This it's hard to say because it's such a different culture than I can relate to, but I can
In
relate.
what way?
They're Spanish.
Yeah, it's
Spain.
You mean? I thought you meant Catholic.
Oh no, I'm I have a strong Catholic.
Are you a
background.
Catholic?
My father was a clergyman. My father was a Catholic clergyman.
I figure.
Yeah. So it was. I have a Catholic background, and
No.
and in this case, it was like it's hard for me to. It's hard for me to recommend it because I don't know who I'd recommend it to. You know, I mean, seriously, it's like I think anybody I might recommend it to is sitting at this table. But it's an oddball. It's a unique movie. It's a really unique movie. The actors are I think are good, but I don't know
They are.
because it's a different style. The movie that it kept reminding me of, and you're really going to flip for this, was a Luc Besson movie called The Story of Adele Blanc-Sec, which was a film he did. Then it's set in it's I think based on some old comic strip or something, and it's set in the beginning of the 20th century. But all the humor in it is so French that it's like I didn't get into it. I couldn't get it. I didn't get the feel of the humor.
Well, the French don't have that much
and
humor.
all of the humor in this is very well. It's Hispanic and Catholic. So it's like one thing that I don't, I'm not that familiar with this Hispanic culture. I have some experience with Catholicism.
It's Spanish,
But-
Italian.
Italian? This is an Italian?
Yeah.
Spanish,
co-production.
Italian.
Yeah.
Well, there was one guy, his producer.
Oh, well,
that
no
was
wonder I
Italian.
couldn't get it.
But the guy's producer, the seance guy, whatever he was, a futurist, his producer would constantly speak to him in Italian.
Well, yeah, and I noticed in the trailer here too that it said like from the producer of Jamón, which is a famous Pedro
Right.
Almodóvar movie. So yeah, I should. That's
No,
Spanish.
that's not an Almodovar film.
It's not.
No, not
Jamón,
Jamón.
Who
is
did
not.
it?
Oh,
Cuarón.
No, it's not Alfonso Cuarón.
I can't remember.
But you know what's
I
gonna,
was sure that was an.
well, one thing I was
Almodóvar
going to say about that, you just made a point about that, the cultural thing. One thing I like about Spanish films, like Argentinian film, you did that one movie with the 5 different stories.
Oh, Wild Tales.
Wild
Yes.
Tales?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay,
I love that.
That movie,
Great movie.
I was on the floor laughing because when I watch Spanish film, sometimes I'll read the subtitles, but then after a while I face out and I just watch the movie because obviously it's Spanish. When those guys curse, it is the funniest thing in Spanish. It'd be like watching
wow,
Irish or maybe a Scottish movie where they're cursing.
Oh,
It's
where
just-
the F word's coming out every
but
word.
also the choice, the words that they choose, like the things that they curse on is different from Central America. And like when I was watching this movie, just like Wild Tales, every time they would curse, I would just be on the floor laughing because their choice of curse words and the things that they curse on, I was just, it is so funny anyway,
Oh,
to me.
good. Okay.
That's interesting too because I didn't laugh at this movie ever. I thought it was kind of amusing, but it didn't ever make me laugh, and it was just because I felt so distanced from it,
Why?
and the fact that it was like there was something so kind of studiedly amateurish about it as well, if you know what I mean. That it was it wasn't it's not a polished movie at all. It's a very raw looking
I
movie.
disagree. I think it's very polished.
I didn't see
Hold
that
on,
at all.
you'll
I
get
didn't see
your
any production values in
Said,
this
hold
one at
on,
all.
you'll get your turn.
Oh, she already did.
No.
Didn't
No.
you?
I didn't.
Oh, we're going. Oh, we started this. Okay. All right. So I'll shut up so we can get to Susie.
Well, just so you know, okay, Hamon Hamon was directed by Bigas Luna.
Oh, that's a big ass Luna. That's the name that always makes me
Bigas
laugh.
Luna. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Sue.
Reese. Okay. For the first half of the movie, I had my mouth open like I wasn't sure whether to be appalled or laugh my ass off. It was like it is so blasphemous. I just loved it. It was like, and actually
Coming from the nun.
Yeah, exactly.
The sister nun.
Angulo, the character Angulo, right? He was so funny. He reminded me a lot of what's the Italian actor that
The
kind of
Italian
You know
actor
what I mean?
in
Benigni.
Beautiful Life.
Yeah.
Roberto
Oh, God.
Benigni.
yeah, he looks
Yeah.
a lot like him.
Yeah.
I thought
Very
it was
much
like
so.
Beautiful Life
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Because he's seeking to meet the devil, he has to do bad stuff. And you're just like, what?
He becomes a dirty rotten scoundrel.
Yeah, exactly. Then he meets this death metal guy who was just so
he was
awful. He was just so awful, but in another way, kind of likable.
Yeah.
But he was awful.
Yeah.
And then there's the occult guy who had more patience than any saint I ever
knew.
You know, he had
Yeah.
so much patience. He was so funny. And that is Devraza.
Right.
They find each other by happenstance, and they believe they're stopping the birth of the Antichrist.
Right.
Outrageous, blasphemous, and hilarious.
My turn?
Yeah.
I found this movie much more of a comedy. It reminded me of Zombieland, where it's comedy and it happened to use horror. But I really found it funny because all the three guys involved, Angel the priest, Jose, I don't know his last name, and Professor Cravan, those are the three main guys. Main three guys. And they just don't know how to do anything right. So they do it like
Yes.
everybody would do it, like
You know, I just had
Badly.
a thought, to interrupt you. The
What?
three wise men.
what?
The
I
three
saw
wise
that.
men, the
Oh,
Magi.
What did he say?
the three wise men.
The Magi.
Yeah. Yes.
Wise man.
Continue.
You mean with
I just had this thought.
Jesus.
No, he means the actual
Like
three
Jesus.
wise
There's a
men.
birth of an Antichrist, and they're the three wise men that are coming to
well, that they're looking for the
If you wanna
Antichrist.
go there.
It's like how we would all go about doing it. That's what I loved about it. Nothing was slick.
Yes.
Everything was fucked up. You know what I mean? And that's
Right.
exactly how. Is my head thing right?
Yes.
Okay. Is the way I liked it. And I thought those three guys were funny. And you know, Lon, I usually hate your movies. So I was like waiting for your movie till the last because I thought, oh God, here we go. Right. And I loved it. I never thought though that the angel, the priest,
Yes.
was crazy.
Oh, okay.
I thought he
Good.
had an idea. This is where we're going. I don't know how we're doing this. And they took it bit by bit and they just went ahead and did it.
I think it was. I think it's a great point because I think the world that this movie takes place in is totally bonkers.
Yeah.
And he's saying, okay, well, somebody's got to do this job. I'm going to do this job.
Yeah.
So the craziness is something where it's actually sane within the context of the story.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So unusually, I do love this movie.
Oh, wow. Good.
And I would actually recommend it to people, which I don't usually do. I'm sorry, with Lon's movie.
Okay, so we're rating, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so I still enjoyed it. It was funny. I thought those actors were really funny. And then once I stopped reading the captions and just went full on Spanish, it was really funny. So I'll give it an
I
8.
gotta learn Spanish better.
I'm gonna give it a 5 simply because I didn't understand it enough. I think
Okay.
I might be
Right.
underscoring it, but I'll give it a 5.
Well, as the nun here, I give it a 10.
Oh,
I
wow.
thought it was hilarious,
It was
different,
hilarious.
very different, and just riveting because you're like, where the heck is this going?
What the
You know,
fuck are
so
they
it, so
doing?
it was very riveting. Yeah.
I give it an 8.
Wow.
No. Now, what do you give it, Lon?
Well, no, I gave this a 6.
Of
I
course,
thought it
so
was
he
really good.
never
Yeah.
goes higher than a 6.
Yeah.
I have never seen Lon do anything more than a 6.
I think he did 7 once.
When?
When? I'm sure.
Oh, remember, I gave the Hudsucker Proxy a 9.
Yes,
yeah, but-
yes.
Yeah, but that
Oh, yeah,
sucks.
all
That's the
the
highest
crummy
one.
movies in the
That's
world,
probably
he
the
gives a
highest
9
one.
to.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So
So
we'll be back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me
You know,
check.
you just gave me a great idea. What if the 3 wise men were hitmen who were out to kill him?
Now, see, that would be a great movie.
That's a great story.